Hey guys, welcome back. With any investment or any trade, there's always a risk out there. And with the AI revolution, there's a big risk. So let's get into it. Now, I've talked a big game about the AI revolution when it comes to investing and the future and where this economic wave is going. Okay, this is probably the next decade. But there are some risks, and you should take heed if you're invested and if you're highly concentrated in the AI trade. Now, it does depend on what companies you're invested in. Obviously, the AI trade involves Nvidia, AMD, Broadcom, Microsoft, Google, and of course, there's one company centered around all those companies, and it's OpenAI, okay? They're making these promises left and right to Nvidia, AMD, and Broadcom, and in particular, they made these recent promises to buy, billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of chips and build these data centers out. Now, there's this whole Stargate project with the government. I don't know really what's going on there. But there's a lot of people on like Twitter that I'm seeing that have, these posts where they show the circle of the AI companies. They all are passing money to each other. You've probably seen that out there, maybe on Facebook, whatever it is. If you're interested in the AI investment trade, you've probably seen it. And I read an article by this guy. He writes all these bearish articles on Tesla left and right. I think his name is Will Lockett. On Medium. He can't stand Elon Musk, and apparently he can't stand the AI revolution either, because he did write an article about OpenAI and how they are losing money, which they are. He's right about that. And he did a lot of comparisons to different markets and saying that this market's not worth this much, this market's not worth this much. But he didn't mention the entire white-collar labor market. I think that's where he misses the boat. And I think a lot of people are going to miss the boat on that as well. However, OpenAI, are they going to be able to come up with all this money? Are they going to be able to dilute their shareholders? I don't know. They're offering all these convertible notes, all these instruments to be able to raise the funds to build out these data centers. And will it be fruitful? At the end of the day, they could build out 1 or 2 data centers, and then all of a sudden, they can't build any new AI model or AI tooling to make real money. And that's what the game is all about, And the valuations are getting up there. You're seeing, AMD and Nvidia popping, getting higher and higher and higher. Now, I'm not saying AMD is not worth that, or Broadcom. They could be. But a lot of these moves are based on these OpenAI promises. So you got to be aware that there are risks out there, similar to kind of the .com risk, right? Everyone was hyped up about the internet and websites and .coms and all that. And, we saw what happened in 2001. So you're going to hear a lot about AI bubbles in the next probably 6 to 12, 18 months. There's going to be a lot of people in the media talking about the bubble. When's it going to pop? And we don't know that, right? But it's something you got to be aware of. Pay attention to what's going on. If you're hearing about OpenAI having troubles, well, that could impact the stocks of Nvidia, AMD, Broadcom, even Microsoft. They've got like a 50% stake, I think, in OpenAI. Now, I will say that Microsoft being behind the whole thing, they're a juggernaut. They probably have enough cash on the sidelines to probably build out most of these data centers. So there's probably some backdoor deals that Sam Altman has made with Microsoft that says XYZ, if we have these problems, will you back us? Who knows what's going on? We don't know. And it's for us to speculate, right? For people in the media, for people on YouTube to speculate, hey, is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing? We don't know. Everyone's going to write stories about how AI is going to, the bubble's going to burst, or AI is going to the moon. There's going to be bulls and bears on both sides. And you should take everything in with a grain of salt. And don't put all your eggs in one basket. There are a lot of other good stocks out there that have good cash flows. Maybe they're not part of the AI revolution, and that's okay. That's kind of a big reason why I'm happy I'm not highly concentrated in some of these names like AMD and Nvidia. I don't have a huge position. I'd say the chip companies is probably less than 5% of my portfolio. Most of my portfolio is in Tesla. They are not involved in this LLM, circle of funding between Microsoft, AMD, Nvidia, OpenAI. They're not involved in that. They're building their own AI ecosystem, and they have robots and physical hardware, a real business, a real world business. That's why I'm happy with that investment. Now, does Elon annoy me sometimes? Yes, but I was talking with some guys at work. I'm on a business trip, and these are tech guys, right? Other tech people in my company, really smart guys. And they're like, yeah, people who think Elon's not an engineer, they're a joke. He brings things out of these engineers, the smartest mathematician, data scientists in the world. He brings out the best, and that is why I feel much better being invested in that company for the AI revolution rather than the whole Microsoft, Oracle, Broadcom, OpenAI trade, which is this weird, circle of love all around OpenAI. So be aware of that, But there are other good companies out there too, like Google. They're kind of on their own. You haven't heard Google being involved in this OpenAI trade because they have Gemini. Gemini is the biggest competitor, I think, to OpenAI. Maybe XAI is as well. But, Google could be kind of the dark horse in the whole thing, where maybe if OpenAI falters, Google is going to be second in command or first in command. And maybe they're the buyer of all the chips, AMD and Nvidia. Who knows? And Broadcom. So just be aware of that. Be safe with your investing. Again, I'm not a financial professional. I can't tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. You got to make decisions on your own, but information is good. If you're concerned about the AI revolution and being invested in it, look into these things. Look into OpenAI's whatever information you can get. Like, are they losing 10, 20 billion a year? That could give you some pause into maybe putting all your chips into those baskets. So that's what I'm thinking about, a little bit here and there. I'm seeing some of it come out in the media as far as the AI bubble. You're going to hear about it. So anyways, if you guys like this content, like and subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. And take a look at my previous video. And everyone, have a great day. Safe investing out there. Later.